Hello all and welcome to the Carpinteria City Council meeting. Today is May 11th and I will request a roll call, please.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Mayer.
Here.
Councilmember Nomura.
Here.
Vice Mayor Solorzano.
Here.
And Mayor Alarcon.
Here. And if you are willing and able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we will begin this evening's meeting with a proclamation designating May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city of Carpinteria. And I would like to open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no raised hands.
I will close public comment and bring it back to the council for a motion.
I move to adopt the proclamation designating May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city of Carpinteria.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And with that, we will read the proclamation and we will begin with Councilmember Mayer.
Whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is a time to recognize the significant contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, AAPI, who serve as leaders in business, government, law, education, science, athletics, the arts, and many other fields, and to acknowledge the challenges, including discrimination and violence, that the AAPI community has faced and continues to face in the pursuit of equity and inclusion. And
Whereas in 1978, a joint congressional resolution established what was then known as Asian Pacific American Heritage Week to commemorate two historical milestones in Asian Pacific American history: the arrival of the first Japanese immigrants to the United States on May 7, 1843, and the contributions of Chinese workers to the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad, completed on May 10, 1869, and
Whereas generations of brave women and men made the journey across the Pacific Ocean in search of better lives and opportunities for their families, and in doing so contributed significantly to the economic prosperity and cultural fabric of communities across California and the United States, and
Whereas according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the Asian American and Pacific Islander community is 6.4% of Santa Barbara County's population, and
Whereas Carpinteria's history is deeply connected to Asian American families who were instrumental in the early development of agriculture in the Carpinteria Valley and who played a vital role in the founding and growth of the Carpinteria community.
now therefore the City Council of the City of Carpinteria hereby declares the month of May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the City of Carpinteria and calls upon all residents to join in honoring and recognizing the rich heritage, history, and ongoing contributions of the AAPI community. Yay. And I'll look to the clerk. Do we have a specific individual who will receive this proclamation?
We do, Mayor. I believe it's Vin.
Oh, perfect. Welcome, Vin.
Thank you. Awesome. Mayor Alarcon, Vice Mayor Solorzano, Councilmember Clark, Councilmember Mayer, Councilmember Nomura. My name is Vin Bennett, and on behalf of the AAPI communities of Carpinteria and Santa Barbara, what an honor it is once again to be recognized as May as AAPI month. We celebrate this month as a symbol of strength, resilience, and culture. We are proud of those that came before us and paved our way. Our roots stay true to who we are, and our identities are governed by these cultural upbringings. They shape the way we see the world and the way we interact. The stories that we share with one another have a familiarity that gives us comfort and gives us hope for the future. I recently attended the Festival of Books and was proud to see the numerous representations of Asian American and Pacific Island authors. They talked to the people about their inspirations for their superhero protagonists and referenced themes native to their experiences. It was absolutely uplifting to see this in the forefront of such a highlight event. May we continue to support and celebrate each other in recognizing the diversity of our heritage in support of the AAPI community. May we listen and may we retell our stories so that we may always remember the blessings we are to one another. We are grateful for this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we invite you and whoever else would like to take a photo with us in the front.
Okay, I did want to introduce Tama Takahashi, who is a visual artist in Santa Barbara. She'd like to just take a few moments to say a few words, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. I am Tama Takahashi, a visual artist, and I have to say I was so touched by the reading of the proclamation. I've spent the last many months getting ready for a solo show at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Santa Barbara. So I've been kind of immersed in all the sadness around my family having been in camp. And so to hear these words, I just think back that my father's family would have been really touched and gratified for that, so thank you. Sorry, I didn't expect this at all to be so emotional. I wanted to say that my show opens June 7th at the Museum of Contemporary Art, Santa Barbara, and it's in the small Norton Gallery in conjunction with Arte del Pueblo. And I have several events going on with that. They're large-scale photographs of Minidoka concentration camp, 2 sculptural pieces, and a video installation. And there's going to be an artist walkthrough on June 27th with me. And then in July 18th, we have a Minidoka survivor, camp survivor, and a former park ranger from Minidoka, and also an activist from Nikkei Progressives coming to the museum to do a panel discussion. So I hope that you'll come and see the show, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Ready? 1, 2. This is Ben's camera, so you gotta look at some work. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. For that proclamation, I would also like to thank the City Council on behalf of the Japanese community in Carpinteria. I am also the president of the Santa Barbara Japanese American Citizens League, so it is very touching. This area here has a very rich heritage of Japanese taking leadership roles, including me being the second mayor. So, which was amazing because back then there was a lot of prejudice and I would say discrimination. So it's surprising that we would have had a mayor so early in our history. So thank you very much for that.
We will now move on to item number 2, which is resolution number 6460 and 6461, congratulating Dr. Jim Campos for being named Carpinterian of the Year for 2025, and Valeria Galilea Pulido for being named Junior Carpinterian of the Year for 2025, respectively. I would like to open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no Zoom speakers.
I will close public comment and bring it back to the council for a motion.
I move to adopt the resolution congratulating Dr. Jim Campos upon being named Carpinterian of the Year for 2025, and congratulating Valeria Galilea Pulido upon being named Junior Carpinterian of the Year for 2025.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. And we will begin reading the resolution with Councilmember Mayer.
And this is a resolution of the City Council for the City of Carpinteria congratulating Dr. Jim Campos upon being named Carpinterian of the Year for 2025. Whereas Dr. Jim Campos is a proud native of Carpinteria and a lifelong member of this community, having been raised and educated within the Carpinteria Unified School District and
Whereas Dr. Campos has demonstrated outstanding dedication to the cultural and civic life of Carpinteria through his service as a board member of the Alcazar Theater, the Carpinteria Arts Center, and the Rotary Club of Carpinteria Morning, and
Whereas his commitment to preserving local heritage is exemplified through his leadership and volunteer service with the Carpinteria Valley Museum of History, ensuring that the valley's cultural legacy remains accessible to all, and
Whereas Dr. Campos has served as an educator, historian, mentor, and civic leader whose work has strengthened the community across generations, and
Whereas during his distinguished career in education, he developed the Early Childhood Learning Program at Catalina School and secured a Title VII grant to establish a Spanish-English immersion program later recognized in the Harvard Review, opening doors for generations of bilingual students and fostering inclusivity. And
whereas he has generously contributed his time and expertise by writing for the museum's Grapevine Bulletin, the Coastal View News, and Carpinteria Magazine, and by co-authoring 2 pictorial history books that preserve and celebrate the story of Carpinteria, and
whereas as a founding member of the Carpinteria Cultural Foundation, he has worked to promote community history through educational materials, murals, and storytelling initiatives that honor the valley's diverse heritage, and
whereas his extraordinary contributions have been given voluntarily, driven by a deep love for Carpinteria and a steadfast belief that the community's history belongs to everyone. Now therefore be it resolved that the above recitals are true and correct and incorporated herein by reference. And although Dr. Jim Campos was unable to make it here tonight, we were able to celebrate him and acknowledge all of his accomplishments during the Carpinteria Community Awards Gala. And with that, we will also recognize our Junior Carpinterian of the Year, and we will begin reading this resolution with Councilmember Mayer.
whereas Valeria Galilea Pulido is the proud daughter of immigrants who came to Carpinteria with little more than hope and an unwavering belief in the power of hard work to build a meaningful future, and
whereas through her upbringing, Valeria learned that true impact is not measured by personal gain, but by the lives one uplifts, and that her responsibility is not only to succeed, but to contribute to a more just, compassionate, and unified world, and
whereas during her time at Carpinteria High School, Valeria has consistently exemplified the highest qualities of the community's youth, including academic excellence, leadership, integrity, resilience, and a genuine commitment to others, and
whereas Valeria has raised the academic and professional standard among her peers, inspiring those around her while providing a steady, enthusiastic, and authentic leadership presence that naturally earns the respect of others, and
whereas beginning in her sophomore year, Valeria set and achieved ambitious goals for earning exclusively A and A+ grades while undertaking one of the most rigorous academic schedules available, demonstrating extraordinary discipline, focus, and maturity. And
whereas Valeria has actively contributed to her school and community through numerous extracurricular and service activities, including serving as a 4-year cheerleader and a leader at the CHS Mini Warrior Cheer Camp, mentoring youth in her church as a confirmation peer leader, participating on the Youth Advisory Board, founding and presiding over the CHS Wellness Club, serving as secretary of AVID, competing on the CHS mock trial team where she earned honorable mention and as best defense attorney, and participating in the Girls Inc. Eureka program, and
whereas Valeria's achievements, including receiving the Girls Inc. National Scholarship, being named Homecoming Queen, and delivering a TED-style talk at Pepperdine University on microaggressions, reflect not only her individual excellence, but also her deep gratitude and connection to the community that supported her, and
whereas Valeria has expressed her commitment to carrying forward the values of her family and community, stating that her accomplishments belong to those who supported her and that she seeks not only to grow, but to uplift others wherever she goes. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the above recitals are true and correct and incorporated herein by reference. And the Carpinteria City Council hereby recognizes and commends Valeria Galilea Pulido as the 2025 Junior Carpinterian of the Year, honoring her outstanding achievements, exemplary leadership, and unwavering dedication to her community. Welcome, Valeria, and congratulations. And you are more than welcome to come to the podium and share a few words.
Good evening, Mayor Alarcon, fellow City Council members, everyone here tonight, and everyone here tonight that's here to support me, such as my family and the wonderful folks at the Carpinteria Community Association. I am grateful beyond measurement to be named this year's Junior Carpinterian of the Year. This honor truly humbles me because it would have not been possible without the people who have known me best and have supported me from the start. To feel this kind of support from my own community, the mentors who have cheered me on, taught me, and shaped me, is something I'll carry with me forever. That's exactly what makes Carpinteria so special. It's tight-knit, generous, supporting, and deeply kind to everyone, and I'm so proud to call it home. I promise to carry the Carpinteria spirit with me into every community I enter, such as this fall, where I will attend Mount St. Mary's University in Los Angeles, majoring in political science with a minor in pre-law as an honors student and a recipient of the President's Award. A huge thank you to the Carpinteria Community Association, not just for this honor, but for believing in that the power young people have to change our world and entrusting that power in me. So 1,000 thank yous for inviting me as well. Thank you.
And Valeria, we'd love to take a photo with you and anyone else who you would like to invite up.
Yeah.
Thought we did. She's got one.
She's holding it.
This is why she's Junior Carpinteria.
Yeah, right. One step ahead.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thanks for Fred. Yeah.
I would also like to congratulate and acknowledge the parents for Valeria. So thank you very much for your leadership and your guidance. Appreciate it very much. I can tell you right now, they're hardworking people, extremely hardworking people. Keep track of them. They take care of my house. We're next door neighbors. So thank you very much for that.
We will now move on to item number 3, which is a 10-year service award to city staff member Tim Gray, our maintenance worker number 3.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. I am not Tim Gray, but I will be introducing you to him. But I wanted to embarrass him a little bit because he does have particular spotlights that I'd like to showcase. Yes, it's his 10-year service, and on behalf of his family, friends, as well as his coworkers, congratulations, Tim. Tim started out as a maintenance worker 1 position in 2016 and got promoted to maintenance worker number 2 position in 2021. And since then, he's done outstanding work. And it's not just the routine work like other public works maintenance workers are doing around town for the community, but he also, as part of the Public Works Department's team, as well as our emergency management team, that he has been involved or participated in a lot of the first responding, or especially us as Public Works first responders. Tim has been through the Thomas Fire, the debris flow of 2017/2018, of course, COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, 2021, and the more recent winter storm events of 2023 and 2025. So he is one of the workers out there cleaning our storm drain systems before winter events, and also our Public Works first responder. And without further ado, I'd like to invite Tim and his family over for his recognition. Thank you.
Oh, I wasn't expecting this talk, but yeah, this was thank you for the acknowledgement. I just want to say that I love the town. I love taking care of it. I'm getting a little emotional, but it's just been great. It opened up a lot of doors. I was a Cub Scout master for, I think, 8 years. Right now, currently, I'm coaching Little League, even though my son's 18. And he's actually my assistant coach. So we've been doing that a couple of years, so it's been fun. Just getting involved in the city has been a joy. Just to represent the city when tourists or even locals approach me and ask me questions, it's just kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just being able to help, like, guide people in certain directions. They're like, hey, where's the best coffee? So I'll tell them, but I won't say it out loud right now. Just stuff like that. And then my crew, there's only about 5 of us, and we're really tight. And working with them has been really good. And I don't know what else to say. Just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to read what's on your certificate and then invite you to take a photo with us. So your service embodies the values of our organization, significantly contributing to our mission and goals, leaving a lasting impact on our community. So thank you for your outstanding service and continued dedication. And it shows just in the short amount of time that you were speaking, that we put you on the spot. With that, we'd love to take a photo with you.
Thank you.
Tim, we got the real one. Hand me that. The official one.
I'd also like to take public comment on item number 3. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no Zoom speakers.
I will close public comment. We will move on to item number 4, which is a proclamation designating May 17th through the 23rd, 2026, as National Public Works Week in the city of Carpinteria. I'd like to open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no raised hands.
I will close public comment and bring it back to the council for a motion.
I move to approve the proclamation designating May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And we will begin reading the proclamation with Councilmember Mayer.
Whereas National Public Works Week is an annual observance to celebrate the tens of thousands of individuals who work on public works, including infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital to sustainable and resilient communities and support health, safety, and quality of life across all of North America and
Whereas public works could not be provided without the commitment, dedication, and technical expertise of the public works personnel employed at all levels of government and the private sector to plan, design, construct, operate, and maintain the nation's transportation infrastructure, public facilities, public spaces, public services, public resources and conservation, and fleet and equipment, and
Whereas in 1960, the United States Senate adopted a resolution affirming the first National Public Works Week, and
Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed the Presidential Proclamation of National Public Works Week, and
In 2003, President George W. Bush defined, through Homeland Security Presidential Directive 8, the term first responder to also include public works personnel, and
Whereas as first responders in accordance with HSPD 8, public works personnel are among those responsible for the protection and preservation of life, property, evidence, and environment during those critical early stages of incident response, and
whereas in November 2017, the Board of Directors of the American Public Works Association passed a motion to launch a campaign to promote public works personnel as first responders and approved the adoption of the Public Works First Responder symbol as shown herein. And
whereas on May 11th, 2020, the Carpinteria City Council designated the Public Works First Responder symbol, as shown herein, as a permanent official City of Carpinteria symbol for city public works personnel in acknowledgement of their duties as a first responder, to be affixed to city public works personnel uniforms, vehicles, and equipment, and
whereas as first responders, city public works personnel were called upon to respond to emergencies including the COVID-19 pandemic and winter storms, and
whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th anniversary of National Public Works Week and is sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association, and
whereas it is in the public's interest for the Carpinteria community to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the important work of public works.
now therefore be it proclaimed, the Carpinteria City Council does hereby designate the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week in the city of Carpinteria.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. On behalf of the Public Works Department and others and city staff, this does mean a lot to us as public works professionals. And like you've read in the proclamation, it is the 66th anniversary of National Public Works Week. And this particular theme of this year, like all the other themes in past years, but this theme is, the theme acknowledges the roots of service that runs deep in public works. And it was propelled, or it is propelled by public works innovations that help communities, including the Carpinteria community, evolve into places where people can live lives of purpose and possibility. So that is the theme, rooted in service and powered by community. And for us, it's rooted in service and powered by Carpinteria community. So with that, I'd like to introduce the two public works personnel or staff would like to receive the proclamation on behalf of city staff. Thank you.
Would you all like to say a few words as well, or just take a photo?
Well, first of all, congratulations, Tim, on the work anniversary. Tim's a fantastic worker. It's always a good time working with him, and he's always brings such a positive perspective to the department. So really appreciate having you. And, you know, talking about public works and what we do just on the day-to-day around town, aside from having major emergencies and like the Thomas Fire or the Woolsey Fire. I worked in Thousand Oaks during the Woolsey Fire. I know how wild it can be for people. Those are the extremes, but even the day-to-day going around and picking up tree limbs from wind or cleaning storm drains during the rain, the residents here have been super supportive of us and really appreciative of us just being out there. And part of Public Works is responding to every little thing as fast as we can. So that's something that we push And Tim is very good about if I send him on something, he's there within a couple minutes. I mean, we're fortunate that Carp is not very big, so we can get everywhere fairly quickly. But it's really great to go out to these, resident requests like tree down or storm drains plugged, and having people be appreciative of the fact that we're there. And it's like Tim said, it's not really just a job. I mean, it's a good feeling to go out there and see the residents proud to see us out there. So I appreciate that. Good? Robert?
No, that was good. Well, last time Ryan came up, he also said the same thing you did.
Jump in there.
And I just want to say, to give my appreciation to our public works staff. I know that each one of you is kept very, very busy out there in the community, and I know that some community members appreciate it very much, and others aren't able to show their appreciation because you guys are always moving around to the next thing. So thank you for having such a small but very, very mighty team that's taking care of the city. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, and those are kind words. I'll relay it to the actual people who actually work out in the field, but thank you.
We will now move on to item number 5, which is the introduction of Kelly Guevara Cortez, accounting technician. Now we'll first open up with public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no Zoom speakers.
I will close public comment.
Hello,
Hello,
council
welcome.
member and member of the public. I'm pleased to introduce our newest member of the Administrative Services Department team, Kelly Guevara. Kelly brings accounting and payroll experiences and holds a Bachelor of Science from in Business Administration from the USC Channel Island. In the role of accounting technician, she will be primarily performing accounts payable, accounts receivable, along with just other duties to support the department, such as payroll and budget adjustments. So with that, actually this is Kelly's second week. I forgot to mention that, and she's doing a great job so far. So I'm happy and excited to be working alongside her. So do you have anything else, Sue? You want to add?
Yeah. Thank you, Pam. Good evening, City Council. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and I'm excited to, continue my career and learn a lot about government accounting. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And we look
Excited to work for City Carpinteria.
and we look forward to working with you. Thank you. Welcome. We will now move on to public information, reports, and announcements, and we will begin with the sheriff's recap.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, Carpinteria City staff, community members of Carpinteria. Thank you for having me. For the month of April, I have a recap here regarding the deceased body found at San Ynez Avenue at the dead end there. An extensive investigation by detectives determined it was a suicide. The decedent was not local. He was actually a missing person out of Carlsbad, and there will be no further investigation and nothing for community members to worry about. In the 1400 block of Azalea Drive, we had a burglary. Deputies responded for a report of an unknown subject inside the reporting party's garage. Prior to deputies arriving, the subject was confronted by the homeowner and the suspect fled the scene. Deputies located the subject at a nearby intersection where the homeowner positively identified the suspect, and he was arrested and booked into jail for burglary. At the Carpinteria Post Office, we had an individual that sent 3 envelopes with separate paper checks at the drop box on 4/6/26, and then on 4/13, she checked her online banking app and discovered that 2 of those checks had been cashed under different names than were previously addressed. One was changed for the amount, and the fraudulent checks totaled $15,671. And we actually had multiple reports of this month, so I want to just make everybody be aware if you're dropping off at the post office, you may want to do that quite yet here in Carp. We saw this similar activity in Montecito 8-10 months ago, so I'm kind of concerned that now it's going to be happening here, so I would refrain from mailing any checks at your post office or dropping them in the drop box. At Linden and 9th Street, we had an unruly subject brandish a knife at a business after throwing chairs around. He was subsequently chased out of the location and went to a nearby business armed with a knife in hand. He eventually dropped the knife and was subdued by patrons. Moments before deputies arrived, he was eventually arrested and transported to the main jail. And then we had a couple scam reports. One was the victim deposited $7,000 into the bank account of a scammer she met online. And then another one, the victim was defrauded out of $2,000 when the caller said that the victim had a warrant for her arrest and needed to pay money. The victim paid $2,000 via Zelle before realizing it was a scam. And the caller said he worked for Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office and gave the name of Sergeant James Smith. We do not call people like that. We do not have you zell us money, so please do not fall for that. If you do get a call something similar, hang up immediately, and you could call the Sheriff's Office, and then a deputy or dispatch will tell you that's a scam. Community outreach, we had none. For our chief's message, again, call 911 for any emergencies and non-emergencies. The non-emergency dispatch, 805-683-2724. Deputies gave out 12 illegal camping citations this month. There have been a lot of recent complaints about the illegal camping in the city of Carpinteria. And one of those illegal campers, who was cited multiple times under a fictitious name, was subsequently arrested for using that same name that she used previous times, and but they couldn't get the spelling right, so she ended up being arrested and proved to have a warrant for her arrest for similar behavior in the city of Santa Barbara. DUIs, we had 7 DUIs this month. Some were over twice the legal limit, and one was actually over 4 times the legal limit. And many of these DUI calls come in, and we've discussed this before, from reporting parties, people that see suspicious driving or potential drunk driving. So I would just urge the community to please continue to call that in, because that's a lot of times that's what leads us to these DUIs. And we had somebody that was like a .36, which I don't even know how they're driving at that blood alcohol content. And then for our e-bikes, which is an ongoing issue, deputies towed 2 illegal e-bikes, which are electric motorcycles, this past month. So again, I would just ask people to do your homework before purchasing your children the e-bikes. The cost to get one out of tow, we actually had somebody in today getting one out of tow, and it's probably going to be about $700 to $800, because for a minimum, they're going to be held 48 hours. And sometimes you may not, with these illegal e-bikes, you may not get them back at all. So just be aware of that before you go purchasing the ones. The ones with the pegs only are totally illegal for public roadway. And that's all I have, and I'm under report. Oh, also, the Santa Barbara County District Attorney is making it a little easier to report suspected scams. So they launched a new email address, reportfraud@countyofsb.org, where the public can now send information about suspected scams. That's reportfraud@countyofsb.org. The DA's office said there's no required format for the email, but encouraged people to provide as much detail as possible, things like dates and times, contact information used by the suspect or the scammer, and any screenshots, emails, text messages, or transaction records. And then for those who prefer not to use the email, the district attorney's office also operates a scam hotline at 805-568-2442. A scam hotline at 805-568-2442. End of report.
Thank you for your report. Any questions?
Yeah,
Yes.
just to clarify the post office thing, it's you're in reference to the drop box out by the curb. It's still safe to go inside and drop in there?
I would think it would be. I mean, I'm not going to, that's where they reported at the drop box. I don't know at what point there's is being jeopardized from the drop box or inside. I don't know. So, but I would just be leery of the drop box. We got multiple reports of dropping mail off at the drop box.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Councilmember Clark, I was there shortly, I guess, after this had happened, and they had told me it was safe if I took stuff inside.
Any other questions? Yes.
Real quick, at the last meeting, I brought up a question regarding human trafficking, if that was an issue here in town. I understand there was a slight incident here, something happened a little while ago. How safe is the community right now? Is this something we should be aware of or alerted to?
This is a pretty safe community, I would say. I mean, yeah, there's always going to be instances like the situation we had, but which I'm not going to get into. But I would say this is a very safe community, probably one of the more safer communities I've ever worked. So I'm pretty comfortable. I think I would feel very comfortable if I was a citizen here or a community member.
Sounds good. I only bring it up because we're on one of the major corridors of California.
There's a lot that goes through here, So on the 101, I mean, there's a lot that passes through here. Its main destination is probably not Carpinteria.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
If I could add just as well, we're talking about safety. There were a couple of reports that I provided to the council this last week regarding e-bike accidents between youth on bikes versus cars. And in both of the incidents, the driver was not at fault. It was the e-bike riders, and there was one I don't think I passed along to the council yet. So now this Saturday there was 2 youth double riding on an illegal e-bike near 5750 Via Real. They also hit a vehicle and required one of the parents to take one of the youth to the hospital. There was also a hospital visit in the other one, so really just want to continue to encourage people to ride safely.
Regarding the e-bikes and just I know we created the new ordinance, we've launched an outreach campaign. Are we keeping track? I know we're receiving some reports of e-bike accidents, but do we have a tally right now of how many accidents we've had maybe in the last 3 months? And if we don't now, maybe that's something that we can have on hand moving forward.
Yeah, Mayor Alarcon, I don't know that number right off the top of my head. I think it's probably 3 or 4. Accidents.
I would say at least, and I think it's more prevalent in the past 3 months than it has been. So it looks like it's ramping up. So I don't have an exact number, but I would say at least 3 or 4 in the past 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I can ask our analyst to see if we can get that.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions?
On that, I'm wondering if maybe on a quarterly basis or some sort of reporting amount of time, we could get a little bit of information on citations also for e-bikes. Are kids getting cited, or I don't want to single them out as kids, but are bicyclists being cited for, under our new ordinance?
So I could tell you that there might have been a couple, but we're not really into that phase yet.
Got it, yeah.
So it's been very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we've towed more e-bikes than we've given violations for citations for. I could tell you that for sure.
That's how. I mean, that's helpful to know.
Right.
Those are not supposed to
But
be.
once we get into that phase, I'm sure there'll be no shortage.
For sure.
Great. Any other questions? No questions. Thank you for your report.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will now move on to the First District Supervisor's report. Welcome, Daisy.
Good evening, Mayor Alarcon. Hello, council. Hello, staff. Hello, public. Okay, so my report will start with housing in unincorporated Carpinteria. Not a lot of updates. Nothing to update on Van Wingerden, nothing to update on the Cravens Lane. The Baylord project, the next joint meeting between representatives from city staff, Carp Summerlin Fire, county, and the Red Tail applicant will be happening on May 28th. And then immediately following that meeting, there is another meeting between the Casitas Village HOA board and the Red Tail applicant, and this time including representatives from fire as well. This project still has 2 open applications, which the county has indicated they cannot process 2 open applications, so they still have their by right application through the rezone process and the the builder's remedy application as well. So 2 open applications, they'll have to pick one to move forward with. Speaking on behalf of Fire Marshal Lamonaco, he said that what he requested from them was a full fire evacuation traffic study, and he hasn't gotten that back, so he's waiting on that. And he had a lot of questions based on the initial proposal that he saw, and so the applicant is still working through those things. So those are the notes from Fire Marshal Lamonaco. And last time I was here, and many times I've been here, there's been talk of development impact fees and how that could, they typically go to the county when it's projects on county property, but considering the nature of this project being really not on many, if any, county roads, what that could look like in terms of impact fee sharing. So the County Public Works team has indicated that they are open to discussing what sharing could look like, but much further down the line, let's say even after a single application is moving forward with a project. But we do recognize the uncommon nature of this project in the county, but mostly using city public works and infrastructure. So that's my specific housing update as it pertains to the rest of the county, but will also be affected here. Last month, the Board of Supervisors passed a locals first marketing requirement for any new housing built. So the new ordinance mandates that developers target local renters or buyers for 12 weeks before expanding their marketing campaigns broader than that. And it also requires developers to report on the number of locals in their residence once the project has reached 90% occupancy. So that was a major win. When it first came to the board, it was proposed as a 3-week marketing campaign, and so it got expanded to 12 weeks. So that's super exciting, and hopefully we're helping more locals stay here and local families stay here. So that's my housing update. Do you want to ask questions now, or should I keep moving on?
Are there any questions?
Just a real quick question. I think it'd be a good time to do this one. When you say local, how is that measured? Within a county, because it's a county piece of property, or is it located within a certain specific region or area?
They're hammering that out, what local means. This is coming, there's a lot of legality around that. I'm looking at council over here, because there's a lot of legality over marketing campaigns and who you can rent to and who you cannot rent to. So defining what a local is going to be part of the process of when this gets implemented.
Thank you.
There are ideas, though.
I also had a question about that. So in terms of the local buyers first campaign, that's just for marketing, right? In other words, if somebody gets wind of the available rental space or property, who's not a local, they can still get, apply for those positions? I assume?
Yes, I would assume, but the
Okay.
idea is to really give what will be defined as a local the heads up on through social media, through outreach, that sort of thing. So the details are being hammered out as to what that looks like, but the board unanimously passed wanting that to be an initiative.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. Moving on to cannabis updates. So there's not much to update other than when I came here last, I said that 9 of the operators in the Carpinteria Valley had been given notices of intent to revoke their licenses. 2 of those 9, their equipment was installed and compliant, so those letters were rescinded. And then one of those operators did not have an operational license, so the license letter was retracted and an advisory letter was issued in its place, taking them down another path. So that would remain 6 operators, and they all filed appeals. While they're going through the appeal process, they are allowed to operate, and that appeal process is moving forward over the next 60 days. So, more on that later. Alrighty. Unincorporated roads. So, you may have noticed that there are some new overnight parking signs on Via Real at Nidever, where there had been a lot of RVs parked for a long time. So there are now no overnight parking signs there to hopefully prevent too many overnight parkers. That being said, you may see an increase in RVs parked on Santa Claus Lane. We've been getting a lot more calls about this in our office. I'm sure the sheriff's office has too. Part of the issue is that they cannot tow those RVs. They can only issue tickets. So I believe the sheriff's office is looking into whether or not they can raise the fee of those tickets and what that looks like. So we have hopefully solved one problem that we've heard a lot about, the RVs on Via Real, and now we'll see what can be done about the Santa Claus Lane section of it. Speaking of Santa Claus Lane, reduced the speed on Santa Claus Lane was at an astonishing 55 miles per hour, and now it is reduced to a still kind of nuts, but better 35 miles per hour, which is in keeping with the rest of the area. So that was recently passed. So 35 miles per hour, Santa Claus Lane. And then the road closures that are on Via Real on Summerland, those are still hopefully, there's been a lot more movement. So if you've driven past, it looks really good. There's a sidewalk now. I've seen people walking on it. So we are hoping that June is when those open up again. And hopefully there's through traffic. So those are my updates on the roads.
Question?
Yeah.
Yeah, quick question, Daisy, if you don't mind. I was curious to see what the policies are currently for food vendors. I understand you shut down one of the food vendors on Foothill Road. If that's something we have to be concerned about, or if there's going to be ongoing policing of those?
So recently the county passed sometime this spring, the county did pass an ordinance banning food vendors in unincorporated areas. And so the health department, there's an outreach campaign by the health department and the fire department, I believe, depending on if it's an open flame. So I do believe there will be more crackdown, so to speak, on these vendors that you might see. So if anybody feels the need to report somebody, the public health department at the county is available to take those
By the way, I appreciate the effort on that one. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Okay, moving along. So there've been we've gotten a lot of calls in our office around elections and what to expect, specifically around ICE activity and that sort of thing. So the county is beefing up its Know Your Rights communications. So you might see more of that coming out of the county. I'm sure staff has been alerted to more flyers and more outreach campaigns that you'll start seeing beefing up. But voters, I'm going to take this opportunity to encourage everyone to vote. And voters are encouraged to return their completed ballots as soon as possible. So if you have them in the mail, if you have them at home, you can put them in the mail now. And ballots have to be postmarked or returned by Election Day. So that's June 2nd. So you can walk them into any polling place on Election Day. You can drop them into any ballot box. So please vote. And there's lots of information at Elections of Santa Barbara County. Then, further about the ICE response. So we have had a lot of folks reach out concerned about ICE activity and what anybody can do about it, what cities can do about it, what counties can do about it. So recently, Supervisor Lee and Supervisor Capps brought forward a series of policies that the board approved. So the first policy was prohibiting unauthorized immigration enforcement activity on county-owned property. The key here is unauthorized. So hopefully we don't want to see any staging happening in county parking lots. We don't want to see ICE agents running around the county building. These are what we are hoping to prevent. Second, we directed staff to increase communications around voting rights and election security and what to expect on Election Day and how we're training poll workers so that people feel really safe to go to the polls on Election Day. And the third policy was directing planning and development staff to explore additional land use protections to preserve local control over any proposed detention centers that would come up in unincorporated land. So that was a positive, and hopefully do a little bit what we can to draw the line and say this is where our line is, and hopefully doesn't get crossed. Moving on, I just wanted to mention that a couple opportunities coming up. The county is updating its open space element, so folks can take a survey on what they would like to see in Santa Barbara County's open space. So that has to do with parks and trails and conservation and all that. So this will be ongoing this whole year. But right now the survey is open and you can find it by going to Planning and Development and their long-range planning part of the website. All right, and the last one is the Truth Act Forum, which is the reports from the Sheriff's Department. That is coming to the Board of Supervisors on June 23rd. So I believe we expect a lot of public participation on that.
Can you repeat that date? I'm sorry.
June 23rd.
Thank you.
And I recognize this is not in the update that I sent, so I'll be sending Clerk Barrett an updated version of this report with those links.
And I had a question about the ICE ordinance that you mentioned. Does that supersede federal authority? Is it enforceable?
It does not supersede federal authority, but the idea is that the county can put into place policies that will hopefully be respected, and we'd like to. I'm struggling to find the words here, but I'm looking at Council Akos. It doesn't supersede the federal activities, but the goal is to put a line and say this is what the county has put as the as what we believe to be safe.
Okay, and then would that be enforced by the county sheriffs? Because I know from the op-ed that Sheriff Brown had put out about ICE activities, it seems like that enforcement wouldn't be aligned with how he seems to see that their role.
The sheriff does operate as their own entity. He is an elected official, so he operates on the policies that he has. So the real answer is we just don't know what the enforcement looks like, but the goal is to say, here's the line, and if and when the line gets crossed, at least the line was drawn.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy, one quick question. I don't know if you can you probably can't answer this one, but I received 2 ICE notifications here for the tri-counties. Both of them, they said that the agents were non-masked. Is that something that is changing that you've seen in the county region? I just curious because we don't see that much here.
I mean, personally, I've seen them masked. I've seen them not masked. I believe that cities have passed and different places have passed unmasking ordinances. Again, how the federal agents decide to show up.
Just curious if that was a trending direction that they were going or not.
I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no Zoom speakers.
I will close public comment.
Mayor, if I could just add, I went out regarding the food trucks. This was several weeks ago, I think now. Went out with the chief early morning to the one down on Foothill. And one of the things that the county health told us is that really anything that's not in a truck is not permitted. So if you see anything that's out in a tent or whatever, they don't actually have permission to be there. And the county health department workers went around and took temperatures. Thankfully, most of the temperatures were correct, but not all of them were where they were supposed to be. And then they were ultimately shut down. But just wanted to add a little bit of extra context.
Thank you. We will now move on to item number 8, which is the temporary adjournment for the purpose of holding the monthly meeting of the Carpinteria Library Board of Trustees. And I'd like to call to order and request a roll call, please.
President Alarcon, all board members are present and accounted for.
Thank you. And if you can confirm of legal noticing and procedural requirements.
And all legal noticing and procedural requirements for the meeting have been met.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3 on this agenda, which is public comment. So this is the time for public comments on matters not otherwise on the agenda, but within the subject matter only of the Carpinteria Library Board of Trustees. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
We have no Zoom speakers.
I will close public comment, and we will move on to number 4, which is the approval of minutes of the regular meeting held April 13th, 2026.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held April 13th, 2026.
Second.
We have a first and a second, and before I ask for voice vote, I will open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
We have no raised hands.
Okay, I will close public comment, and we have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, which is the Carpinteria Community Library Monthly Report for May 2026. And welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Mayor, City Council members, city staff, community of Carpinteria, it's my pleasure to present my staff report for the month of May 2026. In regards of programs and collections updates, last month was very active. We have always something new to offer. In April 11, we have our chalk art workshop. April 20, our book club. We read the Hardwood and discussed the book. April 22nd, we have the Wild Teens, and we took the opportunity to invite Vandenberg Mission Update. On April 24, we have our movie night. We show the Wild Robot movie. On April 25, we have our Dia del Niño celebration, sidewalk of stories and color. It was a very gratifying to see the cultural aspect of this celebration. Of course, we have our ongoing library programs. I want to take the advantage of this opportunity to talk a little bit about our One Book, One Coast, or One Book, One Carpinteria, as we are calling it right now. We are participating in the biggest West Coast community book discussion, book club, featuring George Takei, his graphic novel, which was one of the New York Times bestsellers at one point. I want to invite the community of Carpinteria to pick up one of these copies for free. There are also unlimited ebooks access during the month. No waiting list for any ebook or audiobook electronically. We have several events around the subject of the book, which is the Japanese American encampment in the US. So there are several programs. For example, the 1,000 paper origami cranes that we invite to go to the library and experience some cultural aspects of the Japanese culture. The book club discussion is going to be in May 18 at 4 p.m. Pauline is going to once again lead this conversation. On the same day at 6 p.m., we are going to have a presentation about hula dancing. After the presentation about the history and the cultural aspect of this dancing, we are going to show actually a dance for a very well-known group, which they call themselves Hula Anyone. And finally, actually, our movie night is going to be Rental Family, which is a movie where an American teacher goes to modern Tokyo and try to insert into that society. It's a very nice movie. I recommend to everyone. And join us on Friday, May 29 at 6 p.m. And finally, we are going to have a virtual outdoor talk with George Takei. And I invite everybody to join us at 2 p.m. May 31st. It's a Sunday in the community room. In regards of library outreach, it was also very, we have several invitations. We were able to attend the Aliso Elementary School English Learner Advisory Committee. That was a very interesting night, very nice night actually. We were able to talk about the library services. We issue library cards on the spot in the school. We were able to have a very modest but wonderful dinner with the parents, the teachers, the principal. It was very special. On April 17, we received the TK classroom from Aliso Elementary School, and the children got their first library card. On April 18, we participate in Earth Day at the Carpinteria Arts Center. On April 20th, we received the classroom from Carpinteria Children's Project. And also on April 21st, 27th, and 30th, we received the Carpinteria homeschoolers groups in the library, and they were able to do some activities there and research about different subjects. In regards of staff updates, our literacy coordinator, as you know, is leaving the library, Stephanie Colburn. Last day is going to be June 9, 2026. And we have identified a new literacy coordinator, which is our own library technician, Katie Shangwei, who expressed the interest in the position. She applied and competed for the position, and she was selected as the new literacy technician in concentration with literacy coordination. Finally, our community engagement library specialist was able to attend the Institute of Museum and Library Services Library Convening 250, Telling American Story. That was a very interesting situation because 5 libraries in California were identified or selected to participate in Phoenix, Arizona for this professional meeting, with other 50 identified libraries in the whole country. All costs associated with attending, including training, transportation, lodging, meals, were fully covered by the IMLS. And that's it for me. You have any questions?
You, questions? No questions.
Please enjoy the book that I left in your desk.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to reading that book.
Thank
I
you.
would like to open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
We have no raised hands.
Okay, I will close public comment and bring it back to the council for a motion.
I move to receive and file the monthly report from the library.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Item number 6, any new business in discussion? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the adjournment of the meeting. Moving on to item number 9, which is the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Council, and community members. I wish my legs still let me run like that. I'm jealous. Just wanted to mention when we, Kelly, our new staff person, and just remind folks that she stepped in for a recently retired Brenda Robinson, not a new position. For other city employee updates, we have a chief building inspector plans examiner position that's open. The deadline to apply is May 31st, 2026. We also have a facilities attendant position. These are folks that help us manage our rentals over at the Vets Hall. It's a position I did when I was working in recreation, and so if you're on your track to be a city manager, apply for the facilities attendant position. We need all we can get. We also are going to be excited to announce one of our new employees, Francisco Morales, at an upcoming meeting. He was one of our part-time maintenance worker who was able to earn a full-time position. It's a downgraded position from a former supervisor position, and so saving the city money, but also increasing our response out in the community. And that was very much made possible by Ryan Airley, who was here speaking earlier, who's done a great job of managing all of that work. Just some updates on capital improvement projects. The Living Shoreline project, which is managed by the Sustainability and Environment Division in partnership with some project consultants from the Integral Consultant Inc. and Rincon Consultants. They hosted 2 community events in April for the Living Shoreline project. One was on April 16th, where staff and consultants hosted a pop-up event at the Carpinteria Farmers Market. And then on April 25th, more than 25 community members attended the Living Shoreline Community Workshop at the Carpinteria Veterans Memorial Building. Staff heard thoughtful input from community members, including District 1 beach neighborhood residents who shared historical knowledge and experiences with past flooding events, expressed interest in protecting coastal views and property values, and asked questions about project benefits and design considerations. With that, I'd like to turn this over to our Community Development Director, Nick Bobroff, to give some. Oh, sorry. Before I do that, happy to answer any questions.
Oh, it's a comment, but I wanted to make it about the Living Shoreline community workshop. So I was able to attend that, and I was just really impressed with the format of it. It was very engaging. I thought that it was a perfect opportunity for residents to get involved, and I was impressed that a lot of the feedback from the residents was positive, and there was some interest that was expressed about how that the dune system is going to really benefit the beach neighborhood residents in particular. So I was at a table with some other residents, one of whom lives in the beach neighborhood, and it was great to hear how excited that they were about learning more about the plan, giving their feedback, asking questions, and then getting answers from the consultant team. So I just thought it was a perfect example of the community outreach that was done really well and that garnered a lot of helpful feedback.
Vice Mayor, thank you for that feedback.
And so thank you to city staff. I know Delaney Millar and then Tatiana Suriel were there on hand to help lead the workshop, and so they did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. And before I pass it to Nick, I'll mention, I forgot to say, what I always say before I start is just to let people know that we don't cover every item in the city manager's report in detail, and encourage folks to read it. Read through the whole thing, and there's also some helpful links for people to click on in there. So with that, I will turn it over to Nick Bogroff.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I've got just a couple items on tonight's city manager's report for you. First up, I just wanted to remind your council and the community that we have officially kicked off the start of the preparation of the environmental impact report for the General Plan Coastal Land Use Plan update. So this commenced last week on Thursday with the official publishing of what's called the Notice of Preparation. And that's a 30-day process that'll run through June 5th, whereby we're soliciting feedback from members of the community and from other interested parties and agencies on what sort of topics we should be looking at in the preparation of the environmental impact report, and also possible project alternatives and possible project mitigation measures to consider. As part of this NOP process or scoping process, we will be holding a public scoping meeting here in the council chambers at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, May 18th. So this is next Monday. And this will be an opportunity where folks can come in and ask clarifying questions or provide feedback to us. And we intentionally park this scoping meeting to land partway through the scoping period so that folks have time to digest what they learned at the scoping meeting, go back and put pen to paper if they want, or fingers to keyboards, and prepare their comments and submit those comments to the city before the end of the scoping period, again on Friday, June 5th. We've got all this information up on our city website. The easiest way to find it is to scroll down to the bottom of the homepage under Hot Topics and look for the button for the General Plan Coastal Land Use Plan Update, and that'll take you to a webpage dedicated to all things General Plan Update. Also just wanted to provide a brief update on the status of the Chevron decommissioning project. So Chevron notified us last week that the onshore decommissioning activities will be temporarily paused while Chevron awaits final approval of their remedial action plan by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, which in turn is waiting for consultation or concurrence from the State Office of Historic Preservation. So during this pause, Chevron will continue with all required relevant monitoring and mitigation measures, but there won't be any further onshore decommissioning work going on until that EPA approval is finalized. This pause will not affect offshore work, and so you will still see barge and boat activity occurring off of Tar Pits Park area as Chevron starts to make some further headway on the offshore decommissioning work. And then finally, related to Chevron, Chevron is coordinating with Southern California Edison to complete the final step in providing a dedicated separate source of electrical power to Casitas Pier. And this involves replacing a power pole that runs along the railroad tracks down there by the Tar Pits Park Trail in the pier parking lot. And that's tentatively scheduled to occur the last week of this month. And so once that firms up, we'll make an effort to get word out to the community and on whether that'll have any impacts on use of the trail for a day or two there. We'll also work with Chevron to coordinate on a detour around that area if necessary. And then finally, I just wanted to recognize that after 18 years on the city's Architecture Review Board, Richard Johnson has announced that he's ready to step down, effective immediately. He is currently our only architect that's on our Architecture Review Board, so he provides a really valuable perspective and professional expertise, and we're going to miss him, but we congratulate him on a job well done and hope he enjoys whatever comes next. With that, we will be accepting applications for the vacated seat, and that's up on the city website under the city clerk page if anyone's interested in throwing their hat in the ring to become part of the Architecture Review Board. And that concludes my updates, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you. Just to clarify on the Chevron decommissioning, when it's said that the onshore's on pause to get the approval, but the offshore stuff is going to keep happening. There's the pipelines that go from onshore to offshore, and I think we heard details about that, how that process was going to work, and they have to do some stuff on land. So is that pipeline project still in operation, knowing that some of it happens onshore?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Clark, I asked this question as well of Chevron, and it sounds like what they intend to do is somewhere offshore in the nearshore waters, but far enough offshore, they'll have divers go down and make a cut to sever the pipelines, kind of heading farther offshore, so they can start to pick it up from there and start to collect those portions of the pipelines that are farther offshore, while leaving the nearshore and surf line sections of the pipelines intact until they can do the beach work and until they can kind of take on the onshore activities again. So basically, they'll make a cut somewhere underwater, a little ways offshore, so they can start in on that work and not be held up waiting for the onshore.
So the onshore stuff will be waiting until a part of the pipeline will be waiting until the
this
federal
remedial
approval.
action plan is approved. Correct.
All right. Thank you.
I had a question as well about the Chevron decommissioning. Is this pause something that was anticipated? Was it unexpected? What is the context behind that?
Vice Mayor Solarsano, I think in this case it was unexpected. I think Chevron had hoped that they would have this approval in place by now, and instead, I think Chevron completed the work that they could sooner than the EPA got done with their process, and so now we're kind of just on pause until the EPA catches up to where Chevron's at.
Got it. Thank you. That's helpful to understand.
Any other questions? No questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Just, I think, one more quick update or two quick updates, and then bring up our Parks and Recreation Director to give some community event program updates. So we've heard the council many times talk to or give staff feedback on wanting to make sure that we got out the most, cast the widest net when looking for folks for our proposals and submitting bids. So the city recently implemented Beacon Bid, and it's a new bidding platform designed to significantly enhance the visibility and accessibility of its project solicitations. So Beacon Bid is now live and can be accessed using the link that's here in the city manager's report, and it's also on the city website. I don't have the mouse, but it's right there on the very front page, right next to the agenda, little yellow icon there. So encourage folks that are interested in responding to city project solicitations to check our website. In an effort also to strengthen contract oversight and management processes, the city has entered into an agreement for a contract management software system designed to track, monitor, and provide notifications on contract status, which will also be extremely helpful. Happy to take any questions on that, and if not, I'll turn it over to Jeanette. So thank you, Jeanette Ganno, Parks, Recreation, Community Services Director.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I just have really just one and a half updates for you this evening. Both Agewell and the Community Garden participated in the Cyclemania event that happened this past Saturday on May 9th from 11 to 1. I don't want to steal the thunder of Public Works Sustainability and Environment Division, who I know will be coming back to you all your next council meeting to provide you a detailed recap of that event. So I will let Delaney and Tatiana share that with you all. But Agewell and the Community Garden were definitely thrilled to be a part of the event and work alongside our coworkers in Public Works. And then finally, Agewell has started a floor stretch yoga class, which is focused on improving flexibility, relaxation, and overall well-being. This class will be held on the first and third Monday of each month from 3 to 4 p.m. at the Veterans Hall. And just participants should be comfortable getting up and down from the floor to participate. And that's all I have for you this evening. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. May I use that time to get everything ready just to show people where the new bid platform is. So it's right here, right when you get onto the home page. You're able to click here and sign up to receive notices on different types of proposals, and it's very widely used, and so we're really excited about it. But for any vendors out there that are interested, right on our homepage.
Great, thank
And
you.
that
And I appreciate
concludes-
you all doing that. That's exciting. I wonder if we're going to receive some additional inquiries or if additional people will subscribe.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll definitely be reporting back.
Great, thank you.
And that concludes my report.
Okay. Seeing no other questions from council, I will open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have any via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no raised hands.
Okay, I will close public comment, and we will move on to item number 10, which is our Planning Commission actions.
Thank you, Mayor. Last Monday, May 4th, our Planning Commission had 2 items on the agenda. However, the commission only ended up hearing the first item. That item was a revision to a conditional use permit and coastal development permit for a remodel and addition project located at 4684 7th Street. So this project had previously been before the Planning Commission and received approval for that remodel and addition. And then during construction, the existing legal non-conforming residence was found to be in structurally substandard condition and actually was starting to topple over. And the project's structural engineer determined that the entire building needed to be rebuilt from the ground up, essentially. And so because this constituted a major change in the scope of the project, it triggered the need to come back to the Planning Commission for that revision. So that revision was approved by the Planning Commission on a 4-0 vote. We were absent one planning commissioner, and no changes were made to that project from what was presented. The other item that was on the agenda was a new residence at 333 Linden Avenue. This had previously been continued to this meeting from the February 2nd meeting at the direction of the Planning Commission to make some revisions to the proposed design. However, prior to the meeting, the applicant requested a continuance because they weren't going to be able to make it to the meeting, and so the commission granted that continuance, and we've parked it on the agenda for the upcoming June 1st hearing instead. And that concludes my report on Planning Commission actions.
Thank you. Questions? Okay, no questions. I will open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips for this item. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no raised hands.
I will close public comment, and we will move on to public comment on items not on the agenda, and I will welcome Steve Delira.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and ladies and gentlemen of the City Council. I'm Steve Delira, the Director of Family Youth Services. One of our programs is called the South Coast Youth Safety Partnership. In 2007, a young man by the name of Angel was killed in front of Saks Fifth Avenue. And in 2008, the cities of Carpinteria, Goleta, and Santa Barbara, along with the county, came together to build a coalition to address gang violence in Santa Barbara County. In 2009, they formed the South Coast Task Force on Youth Gangs, and in 2016, it became the South Coast Youth Safety Partnership. This partnership has done well for a lot of years. When I got here to Communify in 2023, Carpinteria had just come off of 2 homicides that happened in 2022. And in 2023, we had a drive-by shooting that happened at one of the local church events here in Carpinteria. And in 2024, we had a kid with a gun in front of one of the local high schools. But also in 2024, we had 3 stabbings in Goleta with 4 victims. We had another stabbing at a school in Goleta, a continuation school. We had a shooting with 2 victims at Haskell Beach. And then you move forward to 2025, and we had a 17-year-old that was killed in Goleta as well. The South Coast Youth Safety Partnership continues to do work in the community, but also to address community violence when it happens. Some of the programs or some of the work that we've done has been prevention and well-being, public safety and intervention, services and basic needs, youth empowerment, community and family engagement. We do have a strategy team that kind of guides us along the way. That includes Department of Social Services, Santa Barbara County Ed, Santa Barbara County Public Probation, Santa Barbara County Education Office, City of Santa Barbara, San Marcos High School, Santa Barbara High School as well. We're here today to talk about moving forward. And so for fiscal year 26-27, we plan to have 5 youth from each of the geographical locations, 5 youth from Carpinteria, 5 youth from Santa Barbara, 5 youth from Goleta, as to sit on a youth advisory board to the program manager, who will be up here in a minute, to give us counsel on what's happening in the cities. And these kids will meet once a month with our program manager, and we report out quarterly. And there's your update. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Michael Hernandez, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Michael Hernandez. I am the South Coast Youth Safety Partnership Program Manager. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about our upcoming new event, Positive Youth Development, or what people will say PYD, the importance of collaboration across South County and how we can support young people. We know that those protective factors when protective factors are in place, youth are more likely to succeed in school, avoid involvement in the justice system, and grow into community leaders in our community. This collaboration is crucial. Through the South Coast Youth Safety Partnership, we're bringing together schools, community-based organizations, law enforcement, probation, public health, and youth themselves to align with efforts building and coordinating systems of support. And this work is already in motion. In October, we convened with partners across South County with more than 20 agencies, giving the commitments to strengthen youth alignments and work more intentionally together rather than in silos. We are continuing this momentum through our upcoming Youth Summit. We've selected 20 students from South County to be trained as youth facilitators. Through this interactive PYD-based training, we are building the youth to build skills in public speaking, active listening, conflict resolution, and group facilitation, while gaining confidence to lead and create inclusive spaces for their peers. This effort has drawn interest from the Annie Casey Foundation, which plans to connect with these youth after the summit to elevate their insights. Yet the summit itself will bring youth, community leaders together to engage in a meaningful dialogue and develop youth-driven solutions. This kind of progress requires sustained commitment. When we invest in PYD and partnership like this, we are choosing prevention over reaction and building safer, stronger communities for everyone. I respectfully urge the Council to continue supporting and investing in this work and prioritize policies and funding to strengthen cross-sector collaborations. Lastly, I want to invite everybody here to our Youth Summit that is happening in Santa Barbara from 4 to 6 at the Santa Barbara Library Faulkner Gallery, and we will be honored to have you part of our discussion. Please take this time to continue to invest in youth for the safer of the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Patrick O'Connor.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and staff. Just wanted to make a quick comment and share a recommendation that I made to the Planning Commission in their last meeting regarding the farm project. And I just want to make it clear I'm speaking as a resident of District 5, not as ARB, so I'm not representing ARB. To consider the EIRs running in advance of the normal public reviews, which was decided a week or so ago. Certainly reasonable. It's a builder's remedy project. There's limited reviews, complex projects, so I get it. But I do want to recommend that ARB and planning be integrated for those public reviews to maximize the value of the inputs. We've seen recently on complex projects where we were limited, that we burned a lot of time, and we burned a lot of input in the ARB that limited then the opportunity for planning and eventually council to review it. So if we can figure out a way to not have it be counted as 2 meetings if we're all together, but combine them to get maximum effect. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Peter Bonning?
Mayor, council, staff, I'm Peter Bonning from the Carpinteria Escape Foundation. Just wanted to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation for this long and storied partnership between the Carpinteria Escape Foundation and this amazing community. We're wrapping up our 8th semester, our 4th year of the PUSH project. With the school district. There's a strong civic engagement where the students are visiting the skate park here on a regular basis. The program has been over-enrolled by double for 8 semesters straight with an equal gender balance and a ton of opportunities for kids to engage in super positive, meaningful after-school visual arts and skateboarding-based curriculum. Similarly, the partnership goes through the summer. The last 2 summers, we did 7 weeks of skate camp for the community. This summer, we're offering 8 weeks. We have an amazing camp director who also helps me run the PUSH project. And enrollment for those camps has grown over the last 2 summers, and we expect even more this summer. We actually have more people enrolled right now than we have the last 2 summers. We get a lot of people from Ventura that love the programming. We get a fair amount of people from Carp, and we get a few people from Santa Barbara. So people are traveling to use our park. People come from all over. I hear it on a weekly basis, how great our park is, how much they love the community. And we just feel very privileged to be a part of this working commitment to making the community a better place. The best part about it is it's all rooted in fun. So thanks, and I hope that during the consent agenda, we approve the ongoing commitment to keeping the partnership with the Skate Foundation and the city going strong. I have no doubt it will. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you soon. What do you say, Val? She says thanks. She appreciates it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
Ken Rife?
Hi, everyone. It's been a while since I've done something like this, so pardon the rust. My name's Ken Rife. I've been a Carpinteria citizen now for 12 years. I'm a property manager as well over on Holly Avenue down by Sandyland. My wife is a 4th generation. Her family started the Palms in the 60s, and I fell in love with the community through meeting her and living here. I'm here today to talk to you guys. First of all, thanks for taking a look at my photos of my dog Lemon and some astrophotography shots. I'm here today to talk about kind of light pollution, and every photo that's in your hands, including the ones that are photons from before humans ever existed, like the Whirlpool Galaxy. Actually, that might not be printed in that stack, but they're all taken here in Carp. We have a unique opportunity because Montecito is already very dark. Summerland are going to have to fight some of those new freeway lights they put on in a row there. But in general, we have the chance to be the only first coastal city in California, especially Southern California, to be a part of an international dark sky community. And Flagstaff, Arizona, Sedona, communities like that are amongst these type of communities. And I've been in communication with the International Dark Sky organizations already. It can lower costs on utilities for the city. There's enough interest, I think, in donorship. I've been a polo member for 15 years, and I've been working at the club for 15 years. And now I'm in tech. I work out at Folio, and that's what got me into astrophotography, just the ability to do things like this. And I think there's a lot of possibility here for this community to not only generate tourism dollars, but also just do something that's great for the community. You know, if you go out at 3 or 4 in the morning and you want to be adventurous and get up like I do and go out into that salt marsh, you can see the Milky Way, just like August and Beata did, who opened the Palms back in the 60s. And we have a chance to let our future generations have that while lowering utility costs and generating that. That is just a mock-up flyer, by the way, for restarting Astronomy on Tap for the Central Coast. So that's not really anything finalized, but usually a lot of things head up towards SLO or Santa Margarita Lake, and I'd like to bring people here instead. So that's all. If you like any of the photos, feel free to keep them. They're just prints from CBS, no big deal. But hopefully I'll get to know you all a lot more. I've been involved in sister city associations in my hometown of Temecula, but I'm here to stay. So would love to just start that talk. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Rogelio Delgado, welcome.
Thank you, Rogelio Delgado, Carpinteria resident. These are points of reference from the community. Number one, 12 out of 20 people are in favor of the quarter of a point increase proposal on the sales tax, barely passing, just like in 2018. But currently the situation is different. Inflation is high. Inflation is a number one concern, not only in the nation, but I think also in CARP. Money is tight. If the sales tax increase is put on the November ballot, you need to educate the public. Otherwise, it may not pass. Point number two, city's budget. How does the city balance the budget? Expenses, revenues, overspending. I understand that the city is okay financially for the next 2 years. That's what I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the city will run into major financial problems 2 years from today if there are not enough resources. How does the city check the sheriff's expenses? Monthly, quarterly, yearly? What about overtime expenses? Everything is within the budget. The city gets its budget basically from property tax, sales tax, and the occupancy tax. Real estate currently is frozen. It's a buyer's market, but listing prices are high. 30-year fixed mortgage is high. The sales tax increase may not pass. The occupancy tax is the highest at 15% in the region. What's the city's remedy for these potential problems? If next month the city council moves to put the sales tax increase on the ballot, please act ASAP to educate the public. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I do not have any other speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no raised hands.
Okay, I will close public comment.
just a couple comments, if you
Yep,
wouldn't mind.
absolutely. Feel free.
First of all, I am interested in hearing if that is something possible that Patrick O'Connor brought forward with an ARB, Architectural Review Board and Planning Commission joint meetings for some of the review process. I think that would streamline it quite a bit, realizing that the ARB is only an advisory to the Planning Commission. Makes sense to me. Something to think about, and I would like to see if, in fact, that is something that's feasible. And the other point was the comments about dark skies. On that one there, we have adopted dark skies in the city of Carpinteria, so I'd be interested to find out if you've seen things that could improve on that, because currently we are setting up direction on how to do that better.
I did order a lot of light meters actually recently online through Gina Astro, so I'm going to be going around town and doing a heat map for you guys. So
Good, thanks.
I'll have actual data for you soon.
Any other
That's it.
comments?
Thank
Okay. Any other comments from council? Okay, no comments. We will now move on to we will move on to the consent calendar.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held April 27th, 2026, to receive and file the warrant register for the period of April 20th through May 1st, 2026, pursuant to Carpinteria Municipal Code Section 2.08.150F, to receive and file the monthly City Treasurer's Report on compliance with Statement of Safekeeping and Investment of Public Funds for March 2026, to approve ordinance number 797 as read by title only, amending Chapter 2.08 of the Carpinteria Municipal Code to better define the city manager's authority to sign written contracts, update the list of city officers who are authorized to sign warrants, and remove the requirement of a list of all instruments signed by the city clerk requiring the city seal to be presented to the city council for their information. To approve the First Amendment to the Consultant Services Agreement between the City of Carpinteria and Environmental Science Associates, increasing the compensation by $74,443 for a total not to exceed amount of $333,333, and to authorize the city manager to execute the Second Amendment to the agreement with the Carpinteria Skate Foundation.
Second.
We have a first and a second. I'd like to open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no raised hands.
Okay, I will close public comment and request a roll call vote.
All right, Mayor, before I get to the roll call vote, let me read the title of ordinance number 797 into the record. Ordinance number 797, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Carpinteria, California, amending Chapter 2.08 of the Carpinteria Municipal Code to better define the city manager's authority to sign written contracts, update the list of city officers who are authorized to sign warrants, and remove the requirement of a list of all instruments signed by the city clerk requiring the city seal be presented to the city council for their information. And for the roll call, Councilmember Clark?
Aye.
Councilmember Mayer?
Aye.
Councilmember Nomura?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Solorzano?
Aye.
And Mayor Alarcon?
Aye. We will now move on to administrative matters. Item 17, which is resolutions calling the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election and requesting the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors to consolidate said election with the statewide general election to be held the same day and adopting regulations for candidate statements.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be taking this item. The November 3rd, 2026 election will be the city's third district-based election with the election of a representative for City Council District Numbers 1, 3, and 5 for four-year terms ending in December 2030. In addition, the ballot submitted to voters may include a transaction use tax measure depending on City Council action, which will likely occur next month. California Elections Code provides the procedures for consolidating elections, which requires the City Council to request consolidation at the same time the resolution calling the election is adopted. These resolutions authorize the County of Santa Barbara to conduct the election on behalf of the city and to canvass the results. The Elections Code also requires the Council to adopt regulations for candidates pursuing elective office to draft legally sound candidate statements. The city must submit a resolution requesting consolidation to the county at least 88 days prior to the November 3rd election. The Board of Supervisors will be in the summer recess from mid-July through mid-August, and their last meeting before this deadline is July 14th, so the last opportunity to submit to the clerk of the board is June 25th. The county estimates the cost of the election to fill the seats of City Council Districts 1, 3, and 5 to be $7,500. And the nomination period for this election begins Monday, July 13th, and runs until Friday, August 7th. Unless an incumbent does not file, then the nomination period for that particular district is extended an additional 5 days to August 12th. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Questions from council? No questions. I will open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
We have no Zoom speakers.
I will close public comment and bring it back to the council for a motion.
I move to adopt resolution numbers 6465 through 6467 as read by title only.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. We will now move on to other business, item 18, which is the third quarter code compliance report for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm here to report on the code compliance report for quarter 3. And just a reminder on background, Code Compliance Division enforces local and state laws for the city of Carpinteria. We work alongside with all the city department, sheriff's office, and other outside agencies to resolve code-related issues in an efficient manner. Figure 1 here is a way to get a hold of staff. Our preference is the online reporting portal listed above. Code compliance responds to and/or investigates each case to determine the appropriate course of action. Code compliance staff logged 237 total cases this quarter, an increase of 105 from last quarter. The quarter's caseload was summarized below in this table, showing vehicle or parking abatement, animal control services, and zoning sign regulation as some of the most frequent calls for service. Slide 4 on attachment A shows the top violation counts, showing parking, dog leash contacts for this quarter, and the signs, followed by dog licensing requirements and dog prohibition. This is would be like on the beach from Linden to Ash. Dogs on the beach. Slide 5 is the kind of give you an overall increase, showing you an increase over last quarter. A lot of this is due to a couple factors, including just time of year, as well as heightened enforcement in certain areas of our enforcement efforts. Again, showing an increase from beginning of the quarter to the end of the quarter in parking, animal violations, and zoning regulations, sign zoning by regulations. Slide 7 here shows that we had 150 cases open from requests in quarter 3. again, vehicle abatement was our number one request, followed by noise violations. Requests come through mainly through our online portal, followed by our app, and just by calling the office line. Total citations for quarter three were 435. It was slightly down from last quarter. Again, our vehicle abatement and 72 hours were the highest of that category. Some of the previous slide, we showed an increase in contacts for off-leash. That was due to animal control and parks meeting with the Citizens Open Space Management Advisory Board. They had some concerns on off-leash activity over at the open space on Bluffs 2, Viola Fields area. And so we met with that organization and came up with a plan to do a heightened enforcement week. And those results showed that we made quite a bit of an increase in contacts for off-leash, and as a result, also dogs without licensing for in carp. So we were able to piggyback off that for some licensing increase. And that includes my report. And if you have any questions.
Questions from council?
Yeah, a couple questions. In the report, I noted that you had said that there's an uptick in some of the cases this past quarter, and that represents a seasonal shift. And so what do we usually see in terms of that seasonal shift?
Yeah, as spring comes with spring break, we see a lot more activity in our parks and and our beaches. So parking, that will affect parking and just visitors in general, so we'll see heightened activity. But it also, those numbers went up because we were enforcing certain areas, like I said, with the off-leash contacts and stuff like that.
And actually, in terms of that, I know that you're such a small staff of 1.5, but I think that was a really great idea to do the 1 week of intensive patrolling. Is that something that you might consider for? I know we get a lot of comments about e-bikes and bikes in the salt marsh, and so is that something where maybe you might consider doing that sort of targeted patrolling, even knowing that you are so understaffed?
Right, we could definitely, well, that's the purpose of this report, right, quarterly, is to kind of see any upticks in areas, and we can definitely direct staff to go that direction, with just being mindful that focused in one area takes away from other areas.
Yeah. But I thought that was a great approach to take. And then finally, so I saw that the staff report indicated that the 237 open cases resulted in 187 recorded violations. So could you just give some context why there's a difference between the numbers of the open cases and then the actual violations?
Yeah, there's probably many factors. The one that I can think of is that we'll investigate, open a case and investigate, and maybe one case will have multiple violations, so it may be increased that quarter, or there was no violations found, and so it would be a decrease, or there's a number of factors. In fact, maybe even Nick can speak probably better than I can on those analytics, but it's a bunch of different reasons why those numbers don't match up.
Well, that's helpful to know, and I just thought maybe if anyone in the public was looking at the report or listening, that might be helpful, just background information to know why the numbers are different, and not every case opened results in a violation.
Absolutely, or in the fact that we had the heightened contacts for off-leash, we also then had another violation associated with that with having no dog license.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Or, for example, we'll make open a case on say maybe a homeless contact where there won't be a violation, but maybe there'll be an outreach for services. So there's no violation associated with that call, but it's a case nonetheless, and staff time spent on that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much. Those are my questions.
Any other questions?
I have a question about parking specifically. I mean, that's a huge jump, and I can't see how this is sustainable in any way to have only 1.5 people doing this, especially as this is not even the busiest time in our city. So maybe you're not the right person to be asking, but what is our plan to add somebody else to code compliance?
I'm open to suggestions.
I mean, maybe I have to ask my own self this question, right? But I mean, to me, I think these are the things that really matter to the city, and specifically parking and off leash.
I mean, time and time again from the beginning of these reporting, that's been our #1 focused area. And so those are the calls we get most, we spend a lot of time with. And yeah, could another position open up, or a part-time position open up, free up my time to address other issues? Yeah.
And just actually to tack on to Councilmember Mayor's comment, I mean, we do have that position exists, that third, so it wouldn't even be adding a new position, it would just be filling a position that was previously cut. So I'm on the same page as you in hoping that that's something, I know we've talked about it as part of the work plan and looking at reinstating that position, but also I understand that our budget situation is the biggest factor likely in that. But thank you for bringing up that comment.
I mean, I just keep thinking, I'm like, not that we want to be making money from code violations, it's literally not. But if this is something where the enhanced, code compliance can, subsidize this position, it makes a lot of sense for us to be doing that. Just specifically thinking about how contentious parking is in general, and, the character of our city, and making sure people are doing what's right.
I think that third position actually wasn't cut, it just hasn't been filled yet because it's floating.
Right, but there was somebody in it before, and then, and so.
I mean, since I've been here, there's not been a third code compliance person. I mean, I really appreciate all that you're getting done. It's like quite remarkable to really put numbers to someone's 40 hours plus 60 hours? I mean, it's impressive, and it's appreciated, and I think we constantly hear that from the public, that the work you're doing is appreciated.
Question. I saw that there were 94 abandoned vehicles. Can you share more about that? That seems like a pretty high number for the last quarter.
Right, so out of the 113, 99, that's what I'm saying, these numbers are sometimes hard to wrap your head around. So out of those 113 cases, 99 of those came from people calling us, or service requests. The other difference between the 99 and the 113 were patrolling, just happened to see a car with a flat tire and marked it, did whatever. And then out of those 94, or out of those 113, 94 were actually created, were issued a warning. That's what we typically do on new vehicles that we come across. And then followed up with, and so either that vehicle became into compliance or received a ticket.
Okay, thank you. And was there a certain area in which those vehicles were abandoned, out of curiosity?
Yeah, I used to put up a map, and I'll do that next time to show, and it just seems it's never really generated in one area. It is spread across the city.
Okay. And then I really liked what Vice Mayor Solorzano was saying in terms of the strategy that you implemented. So I'm just curious, based off of Q3, these trends that you're seeing, are there certain strategies that you'll be implementing for this next quarter, or anything that really worked? I know staff is limited, but I'm just curious to know if there's any priority areas for you and your team.
Yeah, again, this came through concerns through the COSMAB, organization. So we sat down and had a meeting, and they wanted a lot of time in the area, and we compromised on a week, and we probably, spent out of the 40-hour week, probably 25 hours dedicated time between myself and the other officer. So it was a lot of time focused there, and we don't mind to do that if there's a need. But right now, to be able to just do these heightened stuff for everything would be taxing.
Yeah, but is there anything that you'd
Open
like to focus on in this next quarter, or maybe right before summer? Is there, if there's anything in the works?
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to start doing this with the bicycle, e-bikes, and then we always do, well, I shouldn't say always, but we've done it a lot of times. And I've discussed with the other officer for this coming up months, or this quarter, is to start going downtown and reminding visitors and other people about bikes on sidewalks and stuff like that, because it gets busier. We have a lot more activity down with the new businesses, some of the new businesses open, so he'll be down there doing that. So we will see that kind of a heighten, and that number should jump up for bicycle contacts.
Okay. And then just out of curiosity, with Linden Square having opened up, and I know that there's a lot of individuals who park at the Smart and Final parking lot, has that been an issue at all? Have there been any complaints?
Not that I've
Okay.
heard of. It is private property, so it's not really my jurisdiction. I mean, could do some stuff in there for handicap parking and stuff like that. That allows me to. But as far as them policing their own parking, it's up to them.
Okay, so we haven't heard anything,
I haven't.
complaints from them as the city. Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, no other questions. I will open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we have no raised hands.
Yeah, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the council.
I move to receive and file the third quarter code compliance report for fiscal year 2025-26.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. We will now move on to item number 19, which is resolution adopting the city council policy establishing a process for the city's acceptance of donations.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Tonight, I'm bringing forward resolution number 6464, which, if approved, would adopt the proposed donation policy. The proposed policy is intended to create a clear, consistent, and transparent process for how the city accepts and manages donations. Currently, the city does not have a formal written policy, and donations have historically been handled on a case-by-case basis. While community generosity is greatly appreciated and often enhances city programs and facilities, donations can sometimes create unintended obligations, including ongoing maintenance costs, staffing impacts, or operational responsibilities. This policy is intended to provide a framework to help evaluate donations consistently and ensure that they align with city priorities, operational capacity, and legal requirements. The policy outlines procedures for accepting monetary and in-kind donations, establishes approval thresholds, clarifies the city's ability to decline donations, and includes guidance related to conflicts of interest, documentation, accounting, and disposal of donated items when necessary. It also includes additional review requirements for in-kind service donations to ensure compliance with purchasing policies, prevailing wage requirements, insurance, and other legal considerations. So overall, the goal of the policy is to support community contributions while also protecting the city's financial, operational, and legal interests through a transparent and consistent process. And that is my very brief staff report for you all this evening, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, a couple of questions. One thing I really appreciated about the staff report and the policy is a recognition that donations can have these unintended obligations. Can you talk about how the policy helps city staff say no when there might be a donation that is made in really good faith, or a proposed donation that's made in good faith, but that might have some of those unintended obligations that you mentioned?
Yes, through the mayor, vice mayor, that's a great question, and it happens quite a bit. Like you said, many people have nothing but the best intentions, but it does put some undue burden on the city or long-term financial obligations. So the policy pretty clearly states that all donations are subject to review and approval, and that the city can decline and may be declined at the city's discretion without comment or cause. But then it also talks a little bit about evaluation criteria so that we and the proposed donor, or the donor rather, have some objective criteria to evaluate when determining if we should or should not. So it's not just a staff's opinion. There are some criteria that we're using to analyze to back up the rejection or declining of the donation.
And so along those lines, so what would be maybe a hypothetical of a reason to decline a donation? So, and the reason I ask is, we do hear sometimes public comments about offering in-kind or the city looking for in-kind contributions of professional services or things like that. And I'm sure that there's maybe not a public understanding of why that might not be something the city can do. So could you talk maybe about what an example of that might look like?
Yes, through the mayor, vice mayor, for in-kind or services specific, the number one reason I could imagine we would politely decline that donation could be maybe risk management concerns, if the work being performed isn't suitable for a donor or a volunteer to do. Also, if there was anything that would conflict with like our procurement policy or our legal obligations for paying living wages. That's why in here specifically when talking about in-kind donations in terms of services, that it would be something we would meet and discuss with administrative services and legal to assess, to make sure that whatever service is being offered would meet any legal requirements, procurement policy, and all of that. And risk management concerns as well.
If I could, I'd have one really good example. We had the sheriff's department was actually interested in putting a shed out in the back, which would be able to be used for like a small gym room. And there was a company, forget the name, not important, but that was going to, actually I shouldn't say a company, there were workers of a company that were willing to donate their time to do the work. And then somebody was going to donate the materials for that, and so it all seemed very perfect, except for the individuals that were working couldn't provide any insurance, any warranty, anything. So if something were to happen, there was nobody to go back to, no warranty, no anything like that, and it was something that we were unable to do. It's disappointing. Still, it doesn't mean that. It's always a happy ending because we would have loved to have done that, but that's just one example of something that we were unable to do really recently.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's helpful. And I think hopefully it will be helpful for the public to hear that and to know that when things like that are declined, it's not because of a lack of appreciation for it, but that sometimes it's something that will have unanticipated consequences maybe. Just a couple quick more questions. Is there a plan to have maybe a simple kind of public-facing document about this new policy so that when people do want to make donations, they can know without having to maybe read through the whole policy, but can see at a glance what some of these parameters are?
Yes, through the mayor, vice mayor. That's a great suggestion. Honestly, not one I thought through, but I think something we could easily do by adding, a simple tile or FAQ to our website, whether it be housed under the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department or other. I could look into it, but I think it would be helpful for us to have something more public-facing than just, this policy and this meeting to point people to who are interested in donating. So we can definitely look into that.
And then my last question is, I saw in the donation acceptance form that there are fields for ongoing maintenance and life cycle costs. It seems like that wasn't something that we had, since we didn't have a policy before, that wasn't something that we had built into communications with possible donors. How is that, has that been something that has been difficult to capture in the past? Is that why it's now included in the policy?
Yes, through the mayor, vice mayor. It was something that we identified with, the Memorial Bench program, is that there was no clear understanding, at least written, between the city and donors of the bench, that the bench would only be maintained through its life cycle, and we would be doing basic maintenance, but nothing, that would cost the city more money. So definitely something that we've learned from and want to identify and just kind of have a shared understanding with the donor about if they're donating an object that it does have a useful life, the city does have the right to dispose of it when it is time, and that we may not be able to accept the donation if it's going to incur significant maintenance costs that we maybe wouldn't have undertaken otherwise. So really just this policy and others are, I think, just as important to have that shared understanding with the city and the donor themselves so that there's no surprises.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that background.
I'll add one more example. You used to manage recreation centers, and all the time we would have people who wanted to donate their ping pong tables or their, pool tables and things like that. And often those donations were purchased and therefore like home use. And they weren't the like commercial grade ones of kids jumping up on top of it and using it many times. So we found ourselves going and picking up pool tables and all these sorts of things, and then they would last like 2 weeks, and then we'd have to take them down to the dump. And so we actually stopped accepting anything that wasn't industrial or commercial grade for our recreation equipment. So again, just another great example. You'd walk in and see this beautiful pool table, and you go, well, why wouldn't we take that? But it just wasn't made to withstand a teen center worth of kids. And so that's just another example of times we wouldn't accept things.
Thank you.
Couple questions I have. First of all, the example you brought up, some of those were donated by community organizations. Is that one of our first outreaches, or is that something that's going to just be still put in the standard quote model? So they'll just have to come to us.
Through the mayor, Councilmember Moore, if I'm understanding your question correctly, and I apologize if I'm not. So are you asking if we would do some outreach to solicit donations?
No, actually not. What we were talking about was the benches, and those benches actually weren't donated by individuals. They were donated by an organization that was using the money on behalf of that individual. So it's kind of an odd situation. So that's why I was asking the question. If, in fact, we approach the organization as opposed to the individual for the responsibility of filing for these.
Oh, so if I'm understanding correctly, that if we would approach the organization for an agreement after the fact with the benches, or?
At this point, they're in place, but
Right.
for future.
Absolutely. So the benches are in place for the future, and so if it was the extent of their useful life and we were looking to dispose of it, we would reach out to anyone we have on file to talk about those donations, whether it be the organization who did so on behalf of the donor. Unfortunately, for some of the benches that exist on Linden, I'm not sure if the contact information has been kept up to date over the years, but we would definitely make every effort to identify or to reach out to whomever.
That was actually a fundraiser for an organization, is what I'm saying. So the money actually went to the organization on behalf of the individual who paid for it. So the question would be, moving forward, would it be the organization that would be responsible for filing or requesting the donation, or is it going to be the individual? Because it gets a little touchy on that one. Something to think about. I don't think we have to resolve it now, but you may want to consider that one.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point and something we'll absolutely consider. Thank you for bringing that up.
And then the other one has to do with restricted giving. If we do have a policy in place, which I recommend we do, for restricted giving, the difficulty with those oftentimes is recording those. So I think that's going to have to go through the accounting systems. So we have financial, I would say, oversight specifically on those restricted giving amounts. That is one thing that oftentimes falls through foundations. It ends up going to operations when in fact it was specific to restricted giving.
Councilmember Nomura, so we actually have, if it was unrestricted or not earmarked. It could go into the general fund and used for the area of greatest need, but all of our restricted giving go into a revolving fund, and they're earmarked for that particular use and noted to ensure that all donations made for a specific purpose go to that specific purpose.
Okay. Yeah, it does get to be a little cumbersome on bookkeeping, but as long as you have a system in place, you're comfortable putting it into place, I'm good with it.
And it looks like in their workflow, there's some accounting steps in there. Is that correct?
Yes,
in your
Mayor.
workflow?
That's exactly correct. We do have outlines in here, responsibilities, whether it be of, the department director or administrative services, who does what. As you all know, our teams are quite small. So for example, if there was a donation given to my department, it would be my responsibility to coordinate with administrative services to get all the documentation from the donor, this form, submit it to administrative services, let them know when we are spending those funds, how we're spending those funds, and providing them with that documentation as well. But yes, we have some accounting steps outlined in here as well.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question, and I'm going to try to word it correctly. In the event that someone makes a generous, large donation, would that, and it's restricted, I can give you an example if you'd like, would we, as a city council, be responsible for making the decision to jump it ahead in sort of like a work plan? My example I'm thinking of is, what if somebody donates $100,000 to redo the bathrooms at El Caro Park, but that's not on our work plan right now? Would that be a decision that the city council would have to make because it's above the $50,000 threshold to jump it ahead if it's if it's fully funded? I'm assuming that, goodness, I hope $100,000 would cover bathrooms, but what if, I'm just sort of thinking this through.
Yes.
Or is it like a pay to play? Do you know what I mean? Or are we going to suddenly, hopefully we're going to suddenly have all of these big generous donations to fund our big capital projects. So
Through the mayor, council member, mayor, that's a great point, and I think I can answer it in two parts. So if it is currently above $50,000, it would be up to your council to accept or decline the donation. So yes, the acceptance of the donation would be up to your council. The prioritization based on that could also be something through either the capital improvement program and the meetings we have in that process, and or our strategic plan, like you mentioned. If there was a donation to something that maybe wasn't a higher priority, I think that would be something that we would discuss and you could direct staff to. And then the donations also, they, city manager said, are in the revolving fund. So it's not necessarily, unless there's terms of the donation, it's not necessarily like our general fund where if you don't use it within the year, it would go back into the fund. It would remain in that fund. And so we could use it at the time we're ready. For example, some people have been donating incrementally over the years to the community pool, just kind of for any repairs or large items we may need. And we've used it sparingly, and now we have some money that we can use for the community pool project when it's ready to go.
Council members, through the mayor. Sorry, my voice is very deep today. I wanted to just expand on that comment and then also provide another example of how that situation, I think the donation policy helps your council think through donations of that kind, right? Because one of the unexpected obligations potentially, as Vice Mayor Solorzano was asking about, if the donation was, we want to donate $100,000, with the understanding that that $100,000 goes towards the bathroom remodel at El Caro Park next month. And the bathrooms are remodeled next month, right? Because as we know, construction costs are always much higher so it couldn't sit in a fund and we get additional donations, et cetera. But that's an example of, I think, why the policy does have those larger donations coming to your council to consider in terms of those unintended obligations, but also to think about them in terms of, okay, is this on our work plan? Is this something that the council wants to prioritize? Because even if we have the money for the hard costs, there are still costs to the rest of the city in terms of staff time, et cetera.
That's helpful. I mean, we've been reminded of the skate park. I was, as a part of fundraising there, the city had a memorandum of understanding. There was an agreement in place that we would make that large donation, but the city was ready to accept that donation. It wasn't like we just walked into city council one day and said, here's the money, now build us a skate park. But it does bring me to this thought of that, you know, if people understand that there are places that they could support the city and build us Contra Park or something like that, you know, how do we as a body prioritize that and not like, I mean, again, this is such a hypothetical thing, but like, is it just jumping the line to get to the very top just because you have the money to do it? And I hope that, I mean, I really hope we have that problem, so it's fun to think about.
Any other questions?
Question, clarification, actually. If this were to pass right now, does this instantly go into effect, or is this something that will have to be written in, policies actually set in place before, and then come back to us again for final? Tonight? Thank you. Okay, got it. The reason I'm asking for that specific, we have a couple of projects underway currently. For example, the Tamala Interpretive Play Area, where we have some funds already set aside. I assume those remain restricted. The question then being, it is very likely that we will have the funds within the next 2 weeks to complete that project. So knowing that, that's not going to affect any of our actions moving forward then, this policy.
Councilmember Nemore, through the mayor, correct. It is my understanding this policy will go into effect tonight, and it will not negatively affect the Tamil Interpretive Playground process, and I would be delighted to accept a donation in the next couple of weeks, or I believe that one may be at the council's authority level to accept that donation. So I guess the one, I don't want to say added step because it was already our practice, but the one step that would happen moving forward is larger donations would come to your council for your review and formal acceptance. Whereas in the past, that still happened in practice, but not necessarily written down.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can you help me better understand the definition we have the donation, but that's separate from volunteering, right? But then under the donation category, there's also an in-kind donation could be considered a labor, professional expertise. So help me better understand, how are we differentiating those? Or even when we're working with nonprofits, for example, is it the Rotary? Like, what are they considered? Are they just considered a donation, or is it volunteer?
Yeah, Mayor, that's a wonderful question. So a donation, to how I think about it, the donation is either money or a tangible item. An in-kind donation could be service. So someone, offering their services to, I don't want to say build something, because again, there'd be risk management concerns, but some sort of labor or professional expertise. And then there would be a non-monetary donation, so that could also be goods, supplies, or materials. So donations kind of the money, non-monetary could be an item, and in-kind could be a service. In-kind could also be, use of a facility with no fee or the fee waived would be another example.
Mm-hmm.
I can try to provide you some others. So like in terms of like also a tax deduction. So person off the street choosing to volunteer would be volunteering. It wouldn't fall into all of the policy here regarding tax deductions. You might have somebody who's offering to do magic shows at the library, and normally they would get paid a certain amount, and a professional service might be handled differently than somebody volunteering, from the community to help set aside books. And so I would say that'd be one of the biggest differences. You can kind of think of it as, would you get a tax deduction, or is this something you would even get a tax deduction for?
Okay. Okay, that's helpful. And then I know that there was another question or an example. I think you showed the example of someone offering their services as well. And I appreciated your explanation right there. And I think I've also heard it in the context of like community members wanting to lend their expertise. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a donation or volunteer, but they can also participate in our committee meetings or public comment. So that's another way for people. People may say to lend their expertise, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're lending a full service or providing labor. So I just want to provide clarification around that.
Yeah, Mayor, and that, again, would kind of go back to that other example I gave about the construction work. If somebody were an attorney sitting at one of the committee meetings, could likely give pretty helpful legal suggestions or recommendations, but they wouldn't be advice or anything the city would be able to rely on in that way, but could be very helpful.
Perfect. Okay.
If I can jump in there, and I think that great question because, and your question, Mayor Alarcon, I believe this was your question about how these in-kind donations and in-kind services are kind of separate from the volunteer hours. And so in the in-kind donations involving services, labor, professional expertise, et cetera, it does say such review. So the review will be by the Administrative Services Department and the city manager prior to acceptance of any of these in-kind donations, and such review would ensure compliance with such things as risk management standards, conflicts of interest, et cetera. So in the providing legal advice situation, I'm assuming that the person at the meetings providing legal advice, they're doing that kind of by just participating as a public citizen versus while they don't have malpractice insurance, right? Which attorneys do that are practicing law do have in case they give horrible advice.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I will open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
We do, Mayor. We have Gary Campopiano. Gary, go ahead. Gary, you want to unmute yourself? Well, guess Gary doesn't want to talk.
Is there anyone else with their hands raised?
No other raised hands, Mayor.
Okay. Gary, you there? One last. Okay,
Nothing.
We will close public comment, and I will bring it back to the council for a motion.
First, I just want to say I really appreciate, I know we're getting a lot of policies to review lately, and that just shows that the city staff is really being diligent about updating a lot of these procedures that maybe were done informally, and just it ultimately protects the city and the residents a lot more. So I appreciate being able to review this one. And then I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 6464 approving the donation policy.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. And we will now move on to legislative update.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Alarcon, council members. So the update this evening includes summaries and positions on a whole slew of bills, AB 736, AB 1708, AB 1866, AB 1941, AB 1942, AB 1961, AB 2296, AB 2517, AB 2640, oh my goodness, AB 1564, AB 1820, AB 2170, SB 936, SB 1167, SB 866, SB 1013, and SB 1319. So we have previously summarized AB 1708, AB 2517, and SB 866, and your council did direct staff to send letters regarding these three bills. So with regards to the remainder of the bills that are included in your packet tonight, the attached The attached legislative update does provide detailed summaries of each of those bills. We're happy to answer any questions, but we wanted to just quickly flag a couple of those bills that we think are more pertinent or applicable to the city. So it looks like there are 4 of those bills that I'll be summarizing tonight. The first is AB 2296, which would allow the city to initiate the housing element process 6 months earlier than current law currently provides, which could provide, the goal is to provide greater certainty and predictability and time in this housing element review process. League of California Cities does recommend supporting this bill and submitting a letter in support of the bill. The second bill is AB 1866, which would ensure that local agencies that do not qualify for federal disaster assistance are still considered for state aid following a state-declared emergency, which could help address significant gaps in disaster recovery funding. League of California also recommends supporting this bill and submitting a letter accordingly. Third, we have AB 2170, which would impose new procedural requirements under CEQA, including translation mandates that could be costly and burdensome for the city to implement. The concern here is also that these requirements may expose the city or cities to increased litigation risk if those translations are challenged as inaccurate. So here, League of California Cities is opposing the bill and is requesting that cities submit a letter to that effect. And lastly, we have AB 1564, which would restrict a public employer's ability to conduct internal investigations. And the concern here is that restriction could undermine workplace safety and expose the city to increased costs, liability, and risk. So similarly here, the League of California Cities, or Cal Cities, is opposing the bill and requests municipalities to submit a letter in opposition. That's all that I have for you this evening.
Thank you. Any comments from council?
Those all sound like they would be relevant for us. And for the one, the AB 2296, have we sent a letter about that one before? Or maybe we've just discussed it? Am I getting that one right? It's the one about the housing element?
Thank you, Vice Mayor Solorzano, through the mayor. I don't believe that we've sent a letter on that bill yet. We may have discussed it at some point.
That must be it, yeah. But no, I appreciate the recommendation for those 4.
I would support that also.
I would be happy to support that as well. Is there consensus? Yeah. Looks like there is.
Great. So if I can just confirm, Mayor Alacone, it sounds like there's consensus for the council to authorize submitting letters either for or against these 4 bills consistent with League of California Cities recommendations.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, and I apologize, just any public comment on this.
Yes. I will open up public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Do we have anyone via Zoom?
Mayor, we do. This may be for the previous item. It's Gary Campopiano. So I'm not sure. Let's see.
Okay.
Gary, go ahead. Oh, Gary, you want to unmute yourself? Looks like he's having some issues or something.
Okay. Then I'll ask, can we send Gary our email address so he can email us his comments? And then that way that can be
Here he
shared.
goes. He unmuted himself. Gary, are you there?
Do we have anyone via Zoom? Mayor, we do. This may be for the previous item. It's Gary Campopiano. I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay.
Gary,
Go ahead. Gary?
Hello. I believe I'm three items behind.
Then I'll ask,
Hey,
can we send
come on.
Gary our email address so he can email us his comments? And then that way Brian, if we could, Gary, what I'll ask is, because we've moved on.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's hearing your stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Hi, Gary. Yes. Which item would you like to make public comment on?
I originally wanted to speak.
Brian, if we could Gary, what I'll ask is, because we've moved on.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay, I think why don't we go ahead and,
Gary, you still there?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now?
okay, let's go ahead and, let's mute, and then, because it doesn't look like this is the item that he'd like to speak on, so let's get through this item, and then,
So Mayor Alarcon, if I may. Gary, it sounds like this isn't the item that you wanted to speak on, and you were hoping to speak on a previous previous item in public comment. Hearing nothing, Gary, those public comment periods have already closed, so we are going to move on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jen, I'd already muted him.
okay. Okay, I will close public comment for item number 20, and doesn't look like we need a motion for that item. We will move on to committees, reports, inquiries, and other matters presented by council members.
So MTD Board met last week. They approved the extension of their master agreement with EasyLift for paratransit services. They also presented information on the service plan for fiscal year 26-27, and then gave a financial update and third quarter review of their financials. So that was the MTD Board meeting. And then we received an email from the Channel Counties Division that their annual, or their dinner, I don't know if it might be more than once a year, will be June 19th in Ventura at 5:30. And they'll send more details later, but I know that's one that we always usually like to go to. And then finally, the Public Engagement Committee met last week. We received a digital outreach report, talked about city financial overview outreach, and then just touched a little bit on state of the city planning. And that Councilmember Nomura was in that meeting too, so if there's anything you want to add. But okay, those are my committee reports.
Any other reports? Okay, no other reports, and attendance of council members at future meetings?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And it is 8:11, and we will officially adjourn the meeting. Thank you.